It's 20 years this week since former Liberal Premier Jeff Kennett lost the 1999 election in rather dramatic fashion. Going down in a poll, he was hot favourite to win. Since then, it's essentially been 2 decades in the political wilderness for the Liberals in Victoria. They've won just 1 of 5 state elections, and on 2 occasions, the Liberals have been belted. When they did win in 2010, it was slim, and they were dumped just 4 years later. It's the same story for the Victorian Federal Liberal Party, failing to win a majority of seats in the state despite holding government for all but 6 of the past 20 years. State political reporter Richard Willingham takes an inside look at what's gone wrong with the Liberal brand in Victoria.
On a September Saturday 2 decades ago, there were major upsets.
This is just an incredible comeback by the Carlton Football Club.
Hours after the Blues knocked off the Bombers, Jeff Kennett found himself on the receiving end of a surprise loss of his own. Since 1999, the Liberal Party has won just 1 state election, and it's been belted on 2 occasions. There are currently just 21 Liberal MPs in this 88-seat lower house. So what's holding the party back? Is Victoria simply a moderate state that doesn't lean towards the modern Liberal Party, or are the problems much deeper?
The Liberal Party needs to be back in the centre ground of politics. That's where Victorians are. We need to be listening to them and responding to their concerns.
And that's where elections are won and lost, in the middle ground. Despite
Dominating federal politics, the Liberals have not won more seats than Labor for decades. The last 3 PMs are all from Sydney.
How good is Gladys Liu?
And the style of politics practised by Peter Dutton and others also took Victorians off. Some in the party hope the Treasurer can lift local fortunes.
Well, I think the party has to be realistic as to where we're at here in Victoria.
Mr Frydenberg has identified growth corridors, traditionally held by Labor, as targets for the coalition.
These are people with a mortgage, with a small business, with a young family.
Some in the Liberal Party blame the current malaise on the squandered opportunity that was the Baillieu-Napthine government. Having won the election in 2010, the coalition failed to convince voters that it had achieved anything. It was also riven by internal chaos, and the divisions continue today.
Well, that's just complete nonsense. We can rattle off all the things we did.
There we go.
And we did a lot.
OK, what's next, guys?
Mr Speaker, what the government is doing is investing in infrastructure and generating jobs, just as we said we would, Mr Speaker.
But we ended up talking about ourselves, and we became the issue.
Why were you talking about yourselves?
I think there were various forces at work that wanted a bit more for themselves, and they didn't have a focus on the broader picture.
I'm not interested in repeating the mistakes of the past. I'm interested in learning from them and moving forward. Because, look, whatever your party politics might be, I think Victorians need and deserve 2 strong mainstream parties.
Crime is on the rise.
Crime was a major focus of the 2018 campaign. Some have criticised the approach, saying it alienated some voters and was too one-dimensional.
Don't apologise one bit. In fact, I'd go harder, because that issue will be around in Victoria for some time and it's not going to be addressed by the people in charge. People say the Liberal Party in Victoria is a party of the past. Well, they're the same people who said that Bill Shorten was a shoo-in at the last federal election. We'll be back in this state. We'll be back.
Matthew Guy says he doesn't want the leadership back. But will he stick around until the election?
It's like asking me, well, will I have a 4th child? You know, well, there's a long way to go before we start work and all those kind of things. But, yeah, it's my intention to be.
Across the party, there are complaints there's a shortage of Liberal talent in the state parliament.
If you win, you can introduce talent. If you're struggling to win seats, then you've got people who will be clinging on to seats.
I've got a very hard-working group of MPs, a very talented group of MPs around me, both in the shadow cabinet and on the backbench. Politics is volatile. Elections are volatile. The community isn't rusted onto parties the way they used to be.
Writing off oppositions can be perilous, but this is a steep climb back for the Victorian Liberals. It must capitalise on government missteps and hold them to account. But already there is discontent and briefing against Michael O'Brien from within his own side, making that job of opposition even tougher. Richard Willingham, ABC News, Melbourne.
You're watching ABC News Sunday. Still to come tonight.